Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Pebble. And I am super pleased to have as my guest today Sheena Abraham. And she
Mhm.
is an amazing mix of both motivation and money and just kind of getting out of your way when it comes to, being your best self on those fronts because well, let's be honest. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy with dialogues and just, you know, undoing our best intentions. So, Sheena, welcome to the Pebble. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and then how you help people?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. It's great we're in our Smart Social Master group together, so it's great to be able to be on your podcast. And
Definitely.
yeah, so I am a sales copywriter. I have been in the marketing field for about 15 years. And a lot of what I've done is using communication and persuasion strategies to help connect people. And right now, that's businesses and their customers, right? Being able to serve in that way. And I have seen the power of words when aligned with brain science and having an awareness of um, how we operate, what we do, what we think we're doing rationally when we're really operating emotionally. So just noticing those unconscious behaviors has been a huge part of how I've done persuasive writing in my career.
Awesome. Yes, I think that's amazing how far we've come to understanding what we do on that lower level. Like we think we're on top of everything. We think we know what's going on, but the reality is there's a lot in the science of our brain that affects our decisions that we don't even realize is going on, right?
Absolutely. There was this seminal book by Robert Cialdini called Influence, which probably every marketer has read, and it talks about six principles and different studies. And there was one study he talked about where if you are at the copy machine, if someone's at the copy machine in front of you and you need to use it, if you say, "Hey, excuse me, I need to use the copy machine," there's a certain percentage of people who will go ahead and let you cut in line. But if you add a reason, "Hey, I need to use the copy machine because I've got to go," or because I have something urgent. It doesn't matter what you say, as long as you have a reason, it increases the percentage of people that are going to tell you, yes, you can cut in line without even thinking. So just knowing little tips like that almost don't sound rational is cool. It's very helpful.
That makes so much sense. And as you mentioned, you and I are in kind of a mastermind group together that I really enjoy. That's, by the way, how Sheen and I met each other. And I feel like we've become really good friends during it. We've learned from each other, which is why I really love the group, is we're kind of a mishmash of many different people, but it's been a really great growing group. And it made me think what you just said about the copy kind of made me think of, if you remember the movie Home Alone, and Catherine O'Hara is at the very back of the line and she's trying to work her way up to tell them that she needs to get to her son, and she starts like calmly, and by the end she's like, my son, and how that different steps of people read her differently based upon the urgency of her need and such. And I think that really, you talked about that we do act more from emotion than we think.
Yes.
And sometimes we get into our own way because of that.
Absolutely. And so for me, lately, I'm making content about money because even though I'm not a money expert by any means, but I realize for so many of us, our mindsets around whatever it may be, and money is a huge one, are so built around how we were growing up. What was our environment? What were the behaviors modeled for us? And so when I was growing up, I always felt like I'm just never going to have money. It's not there, it's not in my future. So whatever I do have, I have to hoard, I have to save. And so I had behaviors like if I got a sticker at school, I would save it because I didn't know when I would get my next one. If I got a starburst, I would save it. And it would stay in my laundry and get washed because I would just put it in my pocket.
Oh,
But and then as an adult, it turned into things like I would drive to different gas stations until I could find the cheapest price. And at some point it hit me, you know what? The way that I am is it's losing me money. I'm wasting gas money driving around. When I calculated how much I was saving, it was pennies. It wasn't that much. And so all of those little things really added up for me. And so as I got later into adulthood, even that would show up with in the work I did. I would try to DIY everything in my workplace instead of hiring things out. And I would run out of time to do things. And, my results were good, but they could have been way better if I thought bigger, if I opened my mind to new lenses, new frameworks to try on. And so I had to tell myself, you know what, my money mindset as a child, it served me well, like in my young adulthood, because I was stingy and that was good at that time. But now I have a bigger purpose. I'm called to do more. And that stingy mindset is not going to help me. It's just going to keep creating ceilings for me that are going to continually frustrate me. And so a lot of working through that was just even in my tiny little habits, tiny conversations starting to change and letting that create bigger results for me.
I totally get what you're saying. Because I've heard certain people say, well, money is just math and you just have to figure it out. You either have it or you don't. I'm like, if that were so, people wouldn't have debt. People wouldn't, money is so much more about what it means to you and your and your purpose, and whether it's you feel the need to surround yourself with things, how that or like you said, if the money in the bank matters to you. For some people, feeling wealthy is I have to show it, right? I've got to have everything that I think looks like wealth. For other people, it's I have to see the numbers at the bank. And I'd rather wear the same t-shirt and have holes in my socks as long as the money is at the bank, because they provide some kind of mental comfort. And that's not math. But that's money in a whole
Yeah.
different sense. And I just realized the other day I hired a VA, which I have been putting off forever to do, yeah, and to do some just pity any like just work that's so simple that annoys me. And because I realized that what it was going to cost me for a month for her to do it was a matter of a few hours at my contract rate, just a few hours. And I'm trying to pick up that work. And I probably now have the space to pick up way more hours of that work because I'm not doing this silly work that makes me crazy, anyways. And so I
Yeah.
finally said it. And I was like, I probably just told the universe, okay, I'm open for business. But because I was so like, oh no, I can't afford a VA. I can't do it. No, no, no. I probably was cutting myself off, if you believe
Yeah.
in energy or whatever. So now I've provided that person some income and I relieved myself from something I hated doing. And honest to goodness, her whole month that she's asking from me is a few hours. And it's like, why was I like that? Because
Yeah.
of the fear of I can't afford that.
And it's beautiful because you're no longer being drained. You're able to work on the things that energize you and bring you more output than you would have before. And I think for a lot of us, so many things in the world are changing. Like it's a kind of more normal to have somebody to, not that I have this, but somebody to cook your meals or somebody to cut your grass or clean your house, right? People are outsourcing more. And there's kind of shame with that sometimes with, well, my grandma never did that. My parents never did that. What would they say? I was raised to do things myself. And it's such a huge shift in mindset to be able to I know it makes me feel uncomfortable. I get a pit in my stomach, but I have to do this thing that is unnatural for me. For me, that's been things like I have to stop charging commodity prices for the high value work I'm doing, and I have to be willing to ask and ignore that voice in my head that's saying, what are you doing? Why would you do that? You've done it this other way this whole time." So it's like getting past that, those pit in your stomach feelings that are not serving anybody.
Exactly. Totally. And I think too, it is it is putting faith in yourself. And I don't know that all of us were necessarily raised with the confidence in ourselves. And that isn't about my parents love me very much. That isn't a commentary on my parenting. It's a whole wealth of things that is so much therapy that I'm not going to spend the time here. But just in general, I often have in the past, shadowed my light. And, I have in the last couple of years come into my second act and I have been actively trying to shine brightly. And
Yeah.
it's a consciousness. And so I am believing that I am worthy of outsourcing small things, that I believe that my time is of more value than that. And for a lot of people, that is such an
Yeah.
enormous mindset shift. And, that's part of why I've started doing the show, frankly, is because I think those are the little things that when we start that positivity change in ourselves, then we're growing and we're doing more for others too. I don't think I needed to be doing that work, and it made her happy because it fit her lifestyle.
Yeah.
She does that for others. Adding me is no extra work for her, really. It's extra income. She's probably a student. So that helped her and it helped me. And then I'm more free to do what I think I'm supposed to be doing. So it's starting to embrace those beliefs that we are all, meant to be bigger than that. And, as you were talking about just that idea that shift that you're talking about not getting those older emotions and looking at, having the reason why are you making that choice and offering that up. I'm not sure that last bit made sense. I hope you followed me.
Yeah, I mean, what I hear is that you are showing up in the way that you feel you need to, and you're taking the ceiling off yourself, and you're also modeling for the world, "Hey, I am doing this. You need to be doing this too." You're sharing so many life lessons, even just with the metaphor of the pebble, and it's giving people permission in the way you're showing up, and that's huge.
Thank you. Would you like to come on every day and translate for me? Oh, exactly. And that's why, and I want to take a moment to really give you a shout out because you're being kind enough to be on the show. Sheena does coaching, and that's why I really wanted her to be on. And I really would recommend, I will be sharing all of her good stuff below. And she does great videos to watch that are, make you feel good too. But also, that's what she is really doing. And she's helping people. Get out of their own way. And on that note, what do you think is the best thing? Like, what do you think is the number one thing that people do to get in their own way?
I think avoidance and fear in so many ways. And what I mean by that is um, we keep walking away from what we need to lean into and walk toward. And just noticing that helps us notice what we're missing out on. So 20 years don't pass and we realize, hey, I'm still right here, but I was called to so much more.
Oh my gosh, Mike down. Uh, I don't even know how to follow that. That was yeah. That's absolutely right. And beautiful. That okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's why she was here, right there.
We're
And
all getting in our own way. That's certainly the truth.
that was amazing. Well, thank you, Miss Sheena Abraham, for joining me on the Pebble and translating my thoughts at times when necessary. But I really hope everyone enjoyed this episode. I know I was inspired, which is why I invited her. And I hope you will join us again for another episode. And Sheena, I hope you will return sometime for and be a guest again because you really were wonderful. And maybe we can talk a little more about specifics on how to get out of one's way. We can maybe have
Yeah, that would
a
be so
whole episode
fun.
on that. That would be
Cool.
great. And thank you again for watching The Pebble today. And if you enjoyed it, I hope you will push the subscribe button and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.